joined here by Texas Republican Kevin Brady, my old colleague on the Ways and Means Committee. As time has passed, as some of us left the Congress, finishing second in midterm elections, some people have risen in seniority to the point where Kevin Brady, the talk is here, you've heard it for years, only two jobs worth having. One is to be President of the United States. The other is to be chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. Now, you're a modest guy, but you're in a situation where you could be the next chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. So tell me about this situation for you with the upcoming midterm.
Well, we're hopeful. One, JD, we miss you a great deal. You're a great lawmaker here, and I tell you what, a lot of families that you fought for are still fighting for a fair chance around here. Ways and Means, as you know, fixing this broken tax code and reining in the IRS, saving Social Security and Medicare is so critical. And then being able to really take the President's Not So Affordable Care Act and really turn it back around to a free market, patient-centered plan. All of those start in the Ways and Means Committee. It's worth keeping this fight and doing it in that committee.
Yeah, I didn't mean to give the committee a slight nor you a slight. What we're supposed to say at home, based on the portfolio of challenges and the jurisdiction, it's the powerful Ways and Means Committee because it controls the tax code. KB, we'll talk more about domestic economic policy in just a minute, but let's focus on what is going to transpire tomorrow, as there will be a vote in the House for the authorization of force. I don't know how it's going to be drawn up. Maybe you can tell us more about this. And do you believe this is the right vote to have at this point in time?
The good news is it won't be an authorization of force, because we think that really deserves a bigger debate, probably later this year or maybe in a new Congress. It'll be specifically tailored, written by House Republicans, to provide the President the ability to train those Syrian forces for the next 90 days. Without new dollars, Defense Department has what they need, but also the President to be able to actually hold them accountable so that when we return after November elections, we'll be able to actually gauge what progress they're making. So we're very tailored. I think we've got to back the President's play on this. The truth is, this is the best of a lot of bad options. The President waited way too long with ISIL. It's going to be very difficult. It won't be easy or quick, but we think this immediate action is necessary.
Kevin Brady, let's just drill down a little more, because I think it's an important distinction. During our days in Congress, we would sometimes lament that the headline writers would not be getting the essence of the story. So again, this is not an authorization of force as we voted on in the Congress for George W. Bush a decade ago. This is very structured, very tailored in terms of a 90-day period.
Yes. Very limited, because if the President really wants to expand his authorization of force beyond what happened in 2001 and 2002, we believe he needs to come to Congress for that, explain that in the plan exactly the way the Constitution requires it. In this case, we think there is room for that direct, tailored, limited training, and we want to be able to follow just exactly what progress is being made, so no blank checks in this area.
Kevin, as we take a look at what has transpired, last week we heard criticism that the President had no strategy. Then he stepped before the cameras, and now the criticism is that he said too much in terms of our overall strategy. When you hear that, what's your reaction?
It's frustrating, because this President, above all, doesn't want to be a war president when no one wants to. These things are thrust upon you, and the fact that he ignored ISIL for 2 years and ignored the direct threats for more than a year, now he's in a box. And the truth is, now the U.S. is in a box. And so I'm a little frustrated that he takes things off the table, that he sort of telegraphs what we're going to do. I never think that's very smart to do. We do know ISIL has got many more resources, financially, logistical, military, than al-Qaeda ever dreamed of having. So there's a window of opportunity here. It's closing fast, and we're going to have to act in some way.
Kevin Brady, you and I both you still represent a border state.
Yeah.
News that on 9/11 in Arizona, in the Yuma sector in San Luis, someone on the Mexican side of the border threw a note over saying, "Beware terror attacks from ISIS." Now, what is going on with the administration? We understand they initially tried to suppress the information, and then on basis of anonymity, a couple of folks stepped forward, presumably with the Border Patrol. How are you able to work with the administration on something as important as national security when it seems that always and forever there's some political equation, some political game being played?
Yeah, it's very frustrating, JD, in the sense that since 9/11, as you and I have spoken about many times, you know, a country that can't secure its border can't control its future or security of its citizens. And we still have only, as a nation, operational control of about half of our border. And whether it's Al-Qaeda, whether it's drug dealers, whether it's ISIS, ISIL, you know, there is an opening there that shouldn't be there. And what's frustrating in all of this is we try to shut the back door of illegal immigration so we can keep open the front door of legal immigration the right way, is that so many politics are being played. We have no trust in the president and the White House at this point. That's one of the big hang-ups going forward.
Kevin Brady, Republican of Texas, perhaps the next chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. Sir, we thank you for your time.
JD.
Let's go back to John and Miranda.
All right, JD, and great interview there, and great to get that insight from a guy like Kevin Brady, who knows so much about the interplay between our financial system and what lawmakers in Congress, what they do and how how they can impact things on Main Street.
Well, they're going to be definitely busy over the next few days with everything going on with Ebola, ISIS, midterm elections coming up. It's going to be a little busy.
Yeah, and interesting to get Congressman Brady's take as well too on the difference. You know, it might seem small to some folks, but the authorization of force here, it will make things in a much more limited scope here. It won't give the president as much leeway as he may have wanted as we continue to try and figure out how we're going to push back against these ISIS militants. That will be part of the discussion as we continue on here, America's Forum, right after this commercial break.